Hey everybody, Josh here from Android Central. Just wanted to show you guys an emulator that we recently just wrote about. It's called VGB and it's going to emulate Game Boy, Game Boy Pocket, and Game Boy Color games for you. A lot of people were asking in the comments, well, how does this compare to some of the other emulators that were out there and unfortunately aren't anymore? To answer your questions, I decided to put together this little quick app and a video coverage of it. So if you'll just bear with me, we got to get through the initial Pokemon Blue setup. While we wait for that to load up, I'd like to direct your attention to the left and right sides of the screen, and you'll notice that instead of there being a proper D-pad and virtual A-B, start and select buttons, you've got nothing but grid lines. If you look on the left side, you can see that the grid lines technically make up an 8-way directional pad, but not actually having one there feels kind of unintuitive, and I think it's something that could be improved upon. Same thing with the right side of the screen. You've got start at the bottom, A above it, A, B, and then B. A is pretty intuitive, B is pretty intuitive, but the start button's kind of a pain, as is the AB button. I think that we could really make a big improvement on the user interface if these were actually true buttons. So I think we're about halfway, maybe 2/3 of the way through getting through the initial Pokemon Blue setup procedure. But I needed to direct your attention to the fact that once my character gets shrunk down to tiny, normal playable size, he is half correctly colored, half completely white. I actually recorded this video twice because that's different than what happened in the first video. In the first video, he was completely black, as were all of the other characters. You can also notice that the frame rate is kind of choppy. It's a little laggy, which is strange because you would think that an original Game Boy game would run very smoothly. When we walk downstairs, you'll notice that my mom is actually colored the same way I am. So I'm not sure if this is something with the ROM, which testing it on other emulators it's not, or if it's just a problem with original Game Boy games on this emulator. Pokemon Trading Card Game for Game Boy Color works like a charm, as does the Dragon Ball Z game that comes up after it. So again, I'm not sure if it's a Game Boy issue because the Game Boy Color games run flawlessly. That being said, there's actually not much else to say, so I'll just let you guys watch the rest of the video with our music running in the background.